Death is not always a negative thing. Everything has a season. Leave behind what you no longer need. Guarding the gates of the underworld crouches the three-headed dog Cerberus, snarling and growling at anything that moves. The dog's jaw drips pools of saliva onto the cool dark stone. Soon, a solitary figure approaches. It is Hades himself. His dog Cerberus calms and submits its three heads for a petting. The master has arrived. Hades is the Greek god of death. His name itself comes from the Hellenic word for invisible. This was because the realm of the underworld, also referred to as Hades, was invisible to all. Plus, Hades owned a special helmet permitting the wearer to be undetectable. This weapon was featured in a number of stories and was worn by many other gods in war. Hades inherited the underworld when Kronos divided the territories, his brothers Zeus and Poseidon receiving the sky and sea, respectively. Wealthy due to the unlimited riches of the precious metals in his kingdom, Hades was intelligent and not at all monstrous. Although feared by man, naturally, Hades was not a particularly nasty god and looked for love, just like his brothers. The story of Persephone is possibly the most famous story featuring Hades, and one which shows that death is just another cyclical part of life. Hades fell in love with Zeus and Demeter's daughter Persephone, and Zeus promised Hades her hand in marriage. Unfortunately, he does not tell the women this, and as it turns out, they do not agree. In his frustration, Hades kidnaps her, taking her down deep to his dark domain. He tries to woo her. Demeter, goddess of agriculture and the ever-loving mother, searches the world for her daughter, and in her grief stops facilitating the growth and production of all food and plants. Everything dies, and man begins to starve. Meanwhile, Hades offers Persephone a pomegranate. This is the fruit of death, and anyone who eats of this fruit must stay in Hades. By this time, the gods have figured out that Hades has Persephone, and Zeus asks for her release. However, Persephone has partaken of the 6 seeds of the fruit, so Hades has claim to her. Demeter and Hades negotiate that Persephone will live 6 months of the year with Hades, and 6 months with Demeter. So every 6 months, the earth dies back, and Hades claims the seasons, winter, and his bride. Should Hades come forth, this does not normally signify a physical death. An ending or a leaving behind is more likely, and this is not always a negative thing. Everything has a lifespan, in particular ideas, beliefs, and fears that have passed their expiration date. Sometimes, in order for growth to occur, death must too. On the shadow side, Hades was impetuous, impatient, and let's face it, not exactly honest all the time. If we are to recognize these qualities in ourselves, and if we seek to understand why we act the way we do, scrupulous honesty is required for a start. While the darker face of ourselves may not be appealing to us, and we may be tempted to take it underground, the only way to truly change it is to make it visible, at least to ourselves. By recognizing our shadow aspects, we then can make changes that allow some of these aspects to transform or simply die away.